So the pre-production process is naturally a really important part of the filmmaking process. Now, in my last tutorial, I showed you how to create a pitch deck document. Now what this is, it's essentially like a sales presentation for your film, and it includes a lot of different things like your synopsis, your script, your team bios, your budget, your finance plan, and whatever else you want to include in it. One of the key elements that I put in my pitch deck is a mood board. Now a mood board can really help you convey the look and tone of your project, which is obviously really important in a visual medium like filmmaking. While there's really no set standard as to what goes in a mood board, I'm going to show you a few things that you can put in there to help communicate your film's vision. Now, there's a ton of different ways you can create a mood board. If you're just creating it for your own purposes, you can put up a bulletin board and pin pictures to it. But since I'm going to be pitching people via email, I want to create like a PDF ebook. Also, once I have this created, if I do have an in-person meeting, I can just go ahead and print these materials out, put them in a binder, and I'm ready to go. Now, stories focus on characters, so naturally I want to include some references to what I have in mind as the look for, my characters or my actors in my film. And there's one particular actor in France. He's actually a really famous actor named Louis Garrel. And my odds of getting this actor to be in my short film is next to impossible, but this is still a good reference as to what the look that I'm going for. Once I put this image in here, I can obviously throw a quick description on it. I can include the character's name, age, his profession, and then a quick little description. I don't need to be too exhaustive here because this is, once again, my mood board is going to be included in my pitch deck materials, and I have another section of my pitch deck that does more of like a deep dive into the character's background. So locations. Now, I have scenes taking place in a handful of locations, most of which are a small apartment in Paris. But I also have the Paris metro, several streets in Paris, and the exterior of a cafe. So adding images here of these locations are going to help if I'm working with a producer who's trying to lock down locations. That's obviously going to help there. If I have a production designer that's working with props and the different color palettes, that's obviously going to help that area as well. So let's talk about wardrobe and props. These are important on-screen elements. My protagonist is a journalist. He mainly works from home. He only goes out for the occasional interview that he's conducting or a meeting. So when he's at home, he's obviously dressed casually. Now when he goes out, he's going to be rocking a trench coat, jeans, tennis shoes. He'll probably have a messenger bag with a notepad and a small laptop that he carries around. Now in the script that I wrote, I have a few props that really play a key role, one of which being a mirror in his apartment. Some of the cinematography that I want to do is revolving around reflection shots in the apartment. So I'm going to be utilizing this mirror. So I want to, include a picture of a mirror to show maybe the look that I'm going for. Also, a large portion of the film is spent with the protagonist on a mobile phone looking at a maps application. So the mobile phone is another important prop. I'm actually going to throw in a page here for visual effects because, as I said before, my protagonist is going to be on a mobile phone for a good portion of the film looking at a map application, and I obviously want to show that on screen. So I want to recreate this as a visual effect and then composite these effects into my shot. So for that reason, I'm going to play around with the Google Maps application, take some reference images, and also use any other map applications, see if I can find anything I like and include that here, and that'll be a good starting point when I go to create these visual effects. So framing and composition, naturally a big part of the visual language of film. So I want to spend some time in pre-production thinking about the specific look that I want. And the mood board is actually really important for my particular project because I do indeed have a very specific look that I'm trying to achieve. For example, my protagonist, I really want to communicate the feeling of isolation that he's feeling. So I only want to show his face throughout the entire film. All of the other secondary characters, I have maybe 4 or 5 characters, I don't want to have any of their faces on screen at any time. So if there's a dialogue scene between my main character, I want to shoot that through over-the-shoulder shots, wide shots, and reflection shots. I'm probably going to have a discussion with the DP and see if this is possible. So the mood board's going to be perfect for this. I'll be able to throw in some reference images here and write down a couple of notes, and then hopefully I can find a DP that's willing to collaborate on this kind of a style. Lighting is another area that's going to affect the tone and look of your film. Now, I really want to go for a soft light look, and one way you can achieve this is by using natural light from window sources. Now this is going to be perfect for my scenario for 2 main reasons. First of all, the majority of my film takes place in a very small location, an apartment in Paris. So there's not a lot of room to put up lights or have a lot of crew members. So if I block those scenes correctly, I'll be able to harness the power of that natural light from my window sources. And second, this is going to be helpful because I won't have to spend the money to rent those lights or hire those extra crew members, and it's going to save me a lot of time. So color is another important part of the visual language, and I really think you should include this in your mood board. So colors can evoke emotions, they can be symbolic of specific themes. Let's say I want to take some color samples and include them on my mood board here. So how could I go about this? Well, the first thing I could do is I could go around to my locations in Paris, take some reference images, and then plug them in and actually pull some color samples from that and see if there's anything that I like. Another way to go about it is to look at the themes in the film. My specific film touches on the themes of jealousy and truth, so I could use varying shades of blue and green. So this is a really cool example right here. If you mix the color blue and green, which are representative of those different themes in my film, you get the color turquoise. And based on the images I took around the city, I found that there's a lot of turquoise color in certain locations, specifically in the metro in Paris. So now I can take that turquoise as my base color and build different color palettes based off of that base color. Using Adobe Color here, I can pull the different shades of turquoise, I can find the complementary colors, and then I could actually use some of those complementary colors, for example, in my wardrobe for the color of the trench coat, the color of the messenger bag. So if my character's moving through the Paris underground, he might really pop off against the back of a train if he's wearing those complementary colors. Now these are just a few ideas that I'm coming up with, but this will be a really good starting point. I'm obviously not a professional designer or art director, so if I bring this to a professional, it's going to be a good way to start a discussion. Sometimes when you're pitching, the people that are listening to your pitch might say, what's a similar project that you can point to say, like, what is this idea going to be like? Is there a film that's already made? Is there a TV show? There happens to be an episode of Black Mirror called The Entire History of You that when I saw that episode, I was like, wow, the themes in this show are so similar. They're almost exact to the kind of themes that I want to explore, all about the truth. Like, should you have blind faith? Is it always good to know the truth? I can take some screenshots of this and include this in my mood board. Black Mirror is a very popular show, so a lot of people have already seen it, and hopefully it's going to help them visualize the idea. All right, so there's my mood board for my short film project. If you think I left anything out, please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear your advice, your suggestions. And again, this is going to be very different, all depending on your specific project or your specific vision. If you have something in mind that you want to experiment with, or some specific look you're going for, that's what the mood board is for, to communicate that to people that you want to help make your film. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And don't forget to head over to PremiumBeat.com for all of your music needs.